hungry. We've got this video to shoot. We're on a deadline. Let's do this. Beginning of the year, I don't even think it was the beginning of the year. I think it was the end of last year. We teased what was coming this year, and pretty much none of that has happened. So let's update on where we're at and why. This video, I'm going to specifically talk about the Snow Commander helmet. Okay, where are we up to? Where are we up to? Well, I thought this was going to be quite an easy one. We had the original sculpt, which was the perfect base, and there's not a lot of greeblies and details and research needed, or so I thought, and we were just going to get it made and put it out. But the more we got into it and the more I looked at it, we're not there. There's a lot of research that I think we need to do, because there are a lot of shapes that are not marrying up, and I think we've made it too nice, if that makes sense. Let me explain. So there are a lot of bulges and a lot of different shapes going on, and there's, on the actual helmet part itself, let's break it down into two parts. We've got the helmet part, and then we've got the kind of the face and the neck. And I want to work out properly how the helmet part interacts with the face and the neck. So the helmet part is quite straightforward. We're basing the principle that they've used a snow trooper helmet. Thinking logically about it, they've made a set of tools and they've made the Snow Commander helmet. I think as a prototype, whether or not they were all going to be like that, these snow troopers, and then it was changed, that's my line of thinking. I'm pretty sure that's probably what's happened, and they've changed it for maneuverability and cost, I'm assuming. We're pretty happy that the dome and the cowl around the back of the hard cowl around the back of the dome, that will be from the exact same tools as a snow trooper helmet. The face, we think, is going to be from the exact same tools as snow trooper helmet, and it's just cut, so they've got rid of the excess. What that leaves us with now is the rest of the front of the face, because they've removed a section, and the back piece, and how they interact and how they go together. And that's where the research comes in. So the base that we are using is the original sculpt, the same as they would have used to create the tools to vac form this. And we're assuming that this thing is vac formed. Okay, that's the first assumption. But let's go with that for now. We need to recreate the tools from the base that we've got, which is the original production made sculpt. And really all we're working out is how they've done that and where they've just how it's created, and that would have been from having a plaster book and sanding it down, I'm sure. That's the principle that we're working with. The bit that I really don't know is how the back interacts with the helmet, and if the helmet is actually bonded to the face in the same way that the snow trooper is. So here's where we're at. We need to spend a chunk of time researching this helmet. We've done a lot of research at the moment, which has led us to the point where we think we need more information. We've got other helmets that were in development that we also teased, and we've got more of the information on that. And we've got a bit of a pool of people helping us that are suggesting things and that we're looking at, and exciting leaps forward in the development of other helmets, which makes us think our time would be better served on the other helmets than it would researching further at the moment this helmet, which has got a lot more unknowns. Information on the Snow Commander helmet is scarce because the helmet disappeared. We didn't think there was any reference for the Snow Commander helmet, and then we got a copy of the original sculpt. So information's out there. This helmet is in the same shop as the two Attack Driver helmets. The Attack Driver helmets and the Snow Commander helmet, none of those are in the Lucasfilm archive. The two Attack helmets are in private collections, and they've been found and identified. What's to say that this Snow Commander helmet is not going to show up at some point somewhere? So while we've still got the hope of that, we think it's best to develop the helmets that we've got more information on, so that we can get this helmet, when we do finally complete it, to be as good as possible. There's no point, I don't think there's any point in us rushing this out just to make something that we think, oh yeah, that looks okay, and base it on other fan-made helmets, the way they're constructed. I think there's too many questions that I want answering before we proceed with this helmet. I think in a nutshell, where this helmet's at is, we've got a great base. Well, we've got the original sculpt base. We've done a lot of research already, but I think we need a little more just to get this over the finish line. And the amount of time that's going to take at the moment is being put into developing other helmets. And I think the whole point of this video is to say, we could just rush this out. We could just make something that looks okay. But I wouldn't be happy with that. I want this to be the best. I want us to question everything, to look at every possible outcome and try and work out how this was made so that we can make it exactly the same. I would hate for this helmet to eventually be found and then for our helmet to not represent faithfully what it should be. So this helmet is happening, and when it does happen, it's going to be right. That's the main thing. It's going to be based on the best information that we can find. So that's where we're at, really. It's not perhaps the video you're expecting, where we're going to say, oh, we're bouncing this helmet out and we're done and we're happy with it. When we do put this helmet out, we will be happy with it. We'll be super happy with it. But at the moment, there's still more research to go into it. Once upon a time, I did say that we only want to make the stuff that I would have myself. And at the moment, it's not ready for my collection. We need to spend a little more time on it. And that's what we've decided to do. We've got two options. We can rush something out which looks pretty good, or we can do it right. It's not going to be rushed out. We're going to research it that little bit more. We want it to stand up to future scrutiny in 5, 10 years, whatever. And let's face it, the work we put into this now is going to be around for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years. Once it's out there, it's done, and that's something that's representing us. And I want this to be right, and I want this to be right in my collection. It needs to be all the questions considered and answered. So there are questions to be answered. If we can't find the original helmet to answer those questions, which may not be likely, then we can look at other costumes and the way other things are created and think, maybe that's what they were doing, maybe that's how it was done. So that's where I'm at the moment. The more you look at things, sometimes, the other day on the Bausch helmet, where I've been looking at a piece for a while and not really seeing anything, and then just out of the blue saw something else, and I'm like, bang, that's it, that's the piece, that's how it works, that's what they've used. Slightly different model. Now I'll have to find the model, and that's been done. That's for a future video. We will be sharing that information soon. But that's how it works. You just look at things for long enough, and you just get the inspiration. And I'm still waiting for a little inspiration.